Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News with Kim and Lisa. Just when we thought the lies and manipulation from Jax Taylor couldn't get any worse, this week we got more insights into his toxic behavior that I truly cannot believe.
Oh my God, it's so bad. Britt finally filed for divorce. Praise be. But during that meeting with the lawyer, we find out even more about how toxic their situation was. And I just have to say, I'm scared for Brittany. You in danger, girl.
I am so scared. And to top it all off, can someone tell me, please, why Janet and Jason are choosing to support Jax and all of his toxic behavior? Meanwhile, Danny is the one they are nicknaming Dark Side Danny. I mean, where's Dark Side Jax? I just want to know. I know it doesn't roll off the tongue like Dark Side Danny, but I feel like we need to divert our attention to him. It doesn't make any sense. I have so many thoughts as always, but before we dive in, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any Bravo breaking news.
Okay, so let's get into it. We are at Kristen and Luke's housewarming party. And it seems like we've been just at a lot of house parties lately. Last week we were at Brittany's. I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of that going on. We meet Jenna, and at first I'm thinking, why are we being introduced to this new person? Who is she? And we hear that I think Zach called Sheena Kevin Bacon, everyone's 1 degree of separation to Sheena Shea. That absolutely tracks. She has so many best friends. I feel like everyone she talks about, she's like, no, I mean, Janet's literally one of my best friends. I mean, Brittany's one of my best friends. Kristen's one of my best friends. She just has a lot of them. She collects them, one might say. And okay, I want to focus in on the interesting things that happen at this party. One of which being that Jenna reveals to Zach that she previously dated Michelle's boyfriend, Aaron. So Zach's like, oh, you got to go tell Jesse that. And so she goes up to Jesse. She says, hi, I'm Jenna. I just want you to know I used to date Aaron. And he says, who's Aaron? Nice try, Jesse. Nice try. He was trying to be so shady. I did not buy it. I don't know about you guys, but I was like, he absolutely knows who Aaron is. Okay. But anyway, she says, yeah, we dated 5 years ago. And then we kind of reconnected briefly again about a year and a half ago. And so now Jesse's back in his conspiracy theory timeline obsessive phase. And he says, this is actually lining up with my timeline because about 6 months ago, I heard that Michelle caught Aaron cheating or caught Aaron with another girl, I guess, at his house. And this was before people knew we were separated. So he's like, this all lines up. Was Jenna the other girl is basically what he's saying.
I think that's a stretch. I think he's trying to take these pieces and fit them into his own narrative. You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's like he's constructing this story. Look, here's how I see it. Michelle has already admitted to, I guess, kissing somebody else while they were together. Is that it?
Yes.
He says that she admitted to cheating on him. At this point, what does she have to lose? I feel like if she really did cheat on him, if she really did, I don't know, hook up with somebody or hook up with Aaron, she would come out and say it because what does she have to lose? He already hates her. She hates him. I feel like at this point, she would love to rub it in his face. I don't know if it's maybe due to a divorce battle. It probably doesn't look good if you had an affair. Maybe that will affect how things are kind of split up. But I don't know. I feel like I just feel like Jesse's reaching with this one a little.
I mean, I feel like he's always kind of reaching, but he'll do anything to make Michelle look bad. So any opportunity that's thrown at his way that even remotely paints Michelle in a bad light, he's going to take it and run with it.
Oh, 100%. The other piece of information that we find out at this party is about the one and only Jax Taylor, and that is that we saw last week, right? Brittany get the FaceTime call from Jax's sister in their home. Or, it made it seem like Jax was bugging the home because he pretended like he could hear her. Feel like we don't really have a straight story on that either. But basically, we find out that, his sister shares that he had some sort of panic attack. His heart rate went up. They had to rush him to the emergency room or urgent care or whatever. Brittany started freaking out. None of that ever happened.
No.
Apparently, he manipulated the front desk girl at the rehab to lie for him about this. And then on the after show, he, goes on this spiel like, how would I do that? Like I told them that, I was having, heart palpitations and then I went back in my room and then like decided I didn't need to go anymore. Like it is just always such an elaborate story with him, an elaborate cover up to the point where you cannot believe anything he says. I truly believe that he did this for pure sympathy. They're saying he faked a heart attack. He faked a panic attack in order to gain sympathy. And I 100% believe that.
Yeah, because 30 seconds earlier, he was texting the producer about what they're filming in the house. And then all of a sudden, he's being rushed to the hospital. Doesn't make sense. And by
Very
the way,
convenient timing.
yeah, totally. And by the way, if your like heart rate shoots up, if you're having a panic attack, I don't think the first reaction is we have to rush you to the hospital. Like, unless you're having symptoms of a heart attack, I don't know. But like, don't you think they would say, let's take a break? What were you doing? Oh, you were texting your ex or, about filming and all this stuff that like agitates you. Okay, maybe we sit down, have a sip of water, do some breathing exercises and see if that helps. If
Yeah,
that doesn't help,
isn't he supposed to be like surrounded by therapists if he is in
right.
this mental health facility? People on Twitter think he's just like in Sandoval's spare room filming these, Blair Witch confessionals because none of this is adding up. He has
Oh, wait,
his phone.
that's too funny.
He has his phone. He's signed a lease. He's rage texting. Now he's manipulating the front office receptionist. What kind of rehab is this? And is it really a rehab?
I don't understand. Did he say, like, you have to call my sister and tell her you're taking me to the hospital? Like, is that, I don't know. None of it makes sense. You can't believe anything this man says. And for Brittany to even feel sorry for him for 1 second, I mean, she did because she's a human, but it's like, it's the boy who cried wolf. Like, at some point, she's going to say, I don't give a fuck. And it's going to be the time that, it's actually real where he does need her.
Yeah. I mean, it just keeps getting worse and worse. And it keeps getting worse in this episode, but we'll get there.
All right. So next we have a little scene with Lala and Michelle. And again, we haven't seen much of Lala this season except on like the after show. So now we're getting like little, we're getting sprinkles of scenes. Like she kind of read Jesse to Phil at Brittany's party, which I fucking loved. But now she's here talking with Michelle. She's very pregnant. House, kind of another carbon copy of the Valley Village homes that, the array of Valley Village homes that have graced our screens. But, very nice.
Can I jump in about the house real quick?
Yeah.
How do you think that Lala Kent is affording this home? Like, I feel like her house, like, is probably the nicest one that we've seen. At least the interior.
Give them Lala.
Is Give Them Lala really giving cash flow, though?
Well, remember, she famously got enough money for the down payment on her Palm Springs house by selling Send It to Daryl merch. And everyone was on, her haters were saying, like, you're capitalizing off of this, like, your friend's despair, and, making a shit ton of money to buy a house. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess she's savvier than we realize.
I'm a little worried about the finances, but I mean, doesn't even come
Oh,
close to
absolutely.
some other people's finances. But I digress. Move
Yeah.
on.
I mean, she's got the podcast. I don't know. Who knows? Okay. But anyway, so her and Michelle are kind of bonding over the fact that both of their exes are narcissists, right? And co-parenting, like, that presents challenges because they kind of have to like undo whatever the dads do. The dads just want to give the kids whatever they want whenever they want it. And like, yes, we all want to give our kids everything, but you can't always do that because you don't want to raise like a spoiled, entitled child. So anyway, they're talking about that. And then Lala asks Michelle how her mom is doing. And I don't recall that we've heard about this before, but Michelle shares that her mom is going through a battle with cancer, and um she likely, will not like survive. And like, she was diagnosed with stage 4. That's not great. And she kind of is coming to this place where like she realizes she's not going to have her mom much longer. And like that, I didn't expect this scene to take that turn because I don't think we've really seen that part about Michelle, about her backstory, her family, and all of that.
No, we haven't. This is definitely the first time we are hearing about this. And to be going through such like a tumultuous divorce on top of what you're already dealing with your mother basically dying before your eyes, I cannot imagine what that feels like. I cannot imagine how that makes you react to situations. You're under a lot of stress, you're emotional, I mean, all of the things. So, I think it's safe to say that we can give her some grace in the way that she's reacting to some things. Um, I don't know. I just feel like it's kind of like Sutton. You know what I mean? Like Sutton would react to certain things this way, but then you kind of dig deeper into her upbringing and her, family life, and you kind of start to look at things differently. I'm not like really comparing the two, but just the fact that there are other things going on in these people's lives that can
Mhm.
affect the way that they're acting on screen, and just give them a little grace. I've been a little tough on Michelle, I will say, and I'll continue to be a little tough on Michelle even in this episode. But I think it's okay to understand that these people are going through stuff, and it's way bigger than this show.
Right, right. And they're carrying that with them, even though we're not necessarily seeing it on screen.
Yes. So my heart goes out to Michelle. I don't really know if we have an update on her mother. If we do, I might have missed it, but just sending well wishes to her and her family, because that was really tough to hear. But let's jump over to the scene with Jasmine, Janet, and Jason, because they're going to get skinny spicy margs, which I personally love and seem to be the new like kind of drink on Bravo. Because if you notice on last night's Miami premiere, I don't know if you watched it, everybody's ordering them. I love it. But so, of course, they're sitting down to kind of make sure that they talk through this whole ring rumor and kind of can move forward, right? But there's still this question on whether Kristen told Janet or Jasmine told Kristen. Janet says that she never told Kristen, but then Kristen said she did. And then at some point, even Janet said that she did. It is all such a mess. Like, I don't really think that we need to find out the origin story of this rumor. Can we just talk about how it's not true? We never believed it, and move on. Like, I feel like we're getting too into the weeds with this one, and we just need to move on.
Yeah, and it seems like they were able to do that here, but you know, they're not going to move on without Jason saying, "Look, apart from this rumor, at the beach, it seemed like you had some real disdain for Janet. And like, we need to address that now because that's like the way things got so heated, like that's what it was that about basically." And Jasmine cracked me up. And I don't know if anyone clocked this, but she basically said, I apologize for things getting heated at the beach. That's just how I was feeling. And it's like, okay, so like, I'm sorry that I called you an entitled Karen vibe killer, horrible friend, but that's how I was feeling, Kim. Like, you can't, I'm allowed to feel how I feel, but I am sorry. Like,
Yeah, I
which is
mean,
not really an apology that I would accept.
like the things that Janet chooses to latch onto and then the things they decide to like move on from, like really don't make sense. I agree with you. Like the things that Jasmine said about Janet, it's like, tell us how you really feel. Like
Right.
it's definitely giving, when you have maybe a drink in you, the truth, really comes out. So I don't know. This isn't something that I would move past. But then Janet admits, oh, I actually Googled a Karen to figure out what it was. First of all, you didn't know what a Karen was. And second of all, she's like, oh, it says it's somebody that's entitled. Oh, guilty. Like,
Yeah.
okay, Janet. Okay.
Well, I think that she was willing to move past this with Jasmine because she has her sights set on a bigger, more worthy opponent, and that is Kristen. She knows that Jasmine is but a pawn in this game. And she's like, all right, you know what? I think I had my focus aimed in the wrong direction. Like, Kristen is the one who I need to be going after. And like, I mean, I agree because Kristen's the one that brought it to camera and brought it to the group. Yes, Jasmine may have talked about it previously, but she never talked about it on camera. And so, like, what was, it was never going to be put out there because of Jasmine. So I would never understood why they were coming after Jasmine for it in the first place. But um, I think we're gearing up for a showdown between Janet and Kristen.
We sure are. I mean, do you think that anything's going to happen between Jasmine and Kristen? Because it kind of seems like there should be, seeing as they're kind of throwing blame on one another. I don't know. Some of this stuff just doesn't make sense to me, but I am here for the Kristen Janet showdown. And I think
I don't
everyone
know.
knows whose side I'm on.
The way that these people move within their quote unquote friend groups is absolutely wild. Like, I cannot imagine having constant feuds happening within my friend group, having to keep track of who's pissed at who's pissed at me. What did I do? Do I owe this person an apology? Oh, I'm going to this event and I have to see this person and I don't want to see them because the last time we got in a fight, that is way too much stress. So I don't know how these people do it.
Well, they're doing it for a paycheck, let's be real. I mean, so they're doing it because we love watching it.
Yeah. Yep. I'm happy they do it. Thank you for your service. Okay. So we get another little Blair Witch video from Jax that, as you're saying, may not be filmed in Sandoval's extra room. And he says, I'm getting out of here soon and I just can't wait to see my kid. And I just like, this has just been such a great experience for me. And it's like, okay, Jax, keep telling yourself that, buddy. Maybe one day it will actually come true. But I'm not going to hold my breath. Okay. In the meantime, Brittany is going to pack up his shit and move it into the garage because when he gets out, he's not coming back home. He is going straight to his condo in Schwartz Village. And she is going to throw a fast food party to come, to have everyone come over and help pack. Thoughts on her catering choice?
Obsessed. Love it. I do love to indulge in fast food every now and then, but I have a feeling that you might think differently.
It was a lot. That was a lot of fried processed food on the table.
Maybe it's
so
this
funny.
maybe it's the Southern girl in me. Like I'm not, Kentucky like Brittany, but I am Florida, which is part of the South. So I don't know. Maybe it's just a Southern girl in me, but
Listen,
I did
would've
love
had
that
some
fast food spread.
I would have had some nuggets. Like
Oh,
and
love
some
and
fries.
Yeah.
but yeah, probably not my first choice of food. Anyway, so they talk about, hey, Brittany, we want to take you out for one last night on the town before Jax gets out. It's like he's getting out of jail. And they have this plan to transform the bar from Jax's to Brit's. And, you know, she doesn't know this, but like she wants to go out and celebrate like her night of freedom, her last night of freedom. So they start packing everything up, and Brittany's getting emotional. You know, she's thinking of the better times that she had with Jax's little denim jacket, and kind of starts saying like, "Oh, I remember he used to love this." And um, you know, I think it's clear that this is tough for her, because even though she knows that like she's got to get out of this relationship, there's a part of her that probably still has hope for, or like wishes that it had turned out differently.
Oh, 100%. I mean, I think that all relationships kind of you feel that way when it comes to this. So I don't know. I do feel for Brittany. I did love Kristen separating his shoes into different trash bags just to like fuck
While,
with his head.
while wearing
Uh,
a shirt that said petty, obsessed.
yeah, so that was top tier. I am scared to see Jax's reaction when he shows up and finds all of his shit in trash bags in the garage, but hope Brittany is not there to receive that. But the next day, Brittany finally decides to go see a lawyer because she's had enough. Jax is getting out of rehab the next day. She wanted to go and at least discuss her options before he gets out, because you know he's going to do whatever is in his power to block her and stop her from doing this. But the things she shares with this divorce lawyer, first of all, the lawyer is absolutely appalled by what is going on, which says a lot because she's a LA divorce lawyer. You would think that she sees this all the time. But she shared some pretty crazy things. The first of which, Jax was $1.2 million in tax debt when they got married. Brittany knew this. She decided to marry him anyway, take this on, and put it onto their house mortgage, I guess. So that is what actually turned their $8K a month mortgage into $17,000.
And that makes sense, because I was thinking, like, that is way too high of a mortgage for their home.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there was some issues going on as to why it kind of more than doubled. But I part of me feels bad for Brittany, yes. But the other part is you knew this 6-7 years ago when you got married. $1.2 million in a tax lien means that Jax basically hasn't paid his taxes in 8 years. And the entire, basically, I think it's safe to say the entire time he was on Vanderpump Rules, his entire salary from Bravo that he took, he did not pay any taxes in. And now Brittany is the one that is stuck with that.
It's hard because, like you said, you want to feel bad for her. On the other hand, I want to slap her and be like, why the fuck would you marry him knowing this? And beyond that, she knew his personality. She knew he was into drugs. She knew he was a serial cheater. She knew he was controlling, had temper issues. So I don't know. I don't want to blame the victim, but at the same time, ladies, if your fiance is $1.2 million behind in his taxes, I'd push out the wedding date until that gets taken care of.
Oh, well, that's going to be a while. Yeah, it's really, really tough to 100% feel bad for Brittany because we all saw the writing on the wall, yet she chose this life. So I don't know. But at this moment, she is also choosing to end it. She chooses to file, and thank the Lord, because I am so glad that she made this decision. And I'm glad that she admitted that I'm scared that I will fall back into his, spell because like Brittany, let's be real, she's not a very strong. I don't know. I don't think she's strong enough to not like fall back into this with Jax. Like, but I think she's learning slowly to kind of be independent, know that she can be on her own and kind of get away from this toxicity finally.
Listen, I think that if he had gone to rehab and chose to actually do the work, not rage text her, genuinely apologize, and come out and like show actions of improvement, at least for a few weeks, I think she would have gotten back together with him. And we all know that it wouldn't last, but I think she is so in love with the idea of like their life together that she wouldn't be able to stop herself.
Yeah, you're so right. I mean, if Jax literally went silent for 30 days, he could have come back out and I'm not saying he would have changed in that time, but I think it is more so his actions while he was away
Yes.
that are the reason why she reached a breaking point. I mean, it's almost like it got worse, not better. So I don't know, but Brittany finally gets celebrated. They do the Brits bar takeover, which I thought was such a cute idea. Everybody shows up. But Michelle is kind of having a little bit of like a pity party about this. And I want to get your thoughts because, of course, they're all celebrating the divorce. Well, nobody knows that she actually filed, actually, but they're celebrating her on her final night of freedom before Jax gets out. And Michelle's like, why am I not getting this support? I am going through the same thing. And nobody's throwing me a party. Like, she feels not supported by the friend group. I have some thoughts on this, but I want to get yours first.
Okay, so yeah, she's definitely giving the Erica Jane like, where was my pizza party? I never got a pizza party. However, I actually get it, and I think she's right. I think the friends just like Brittany more. I mean, look, everyone who is in the friend group, like, no one really ever has an issue with Brittany. All we ever hear is Brittany's such an amazing person. I don't know how she puts up with Jax. So I think people want to rally behind her. And I think Michelle is a completely different type of human. And she just doesn't, I don't know. I don't know. She doesn't have that like charisma that people necessarily want to like get behind. But if I'm her and I'm seeing this, I'd probably be in my feels a bit too and be like, well, damn, like this girl gets a party and like a bar takeover and everyone's always like so enamored with her. No one's really done anything for me.
Yeah, I see that side for sure. However, I do think that the situations are different. I do know that Michelle is going through a lot with her mom and all, so I think that the friends should be rallying around her, if not for the divorce, definitely for that. But
Right.
I don't know. I feel like while Michelle is definitely in a toxic situation with Jesse, I don't really think you can compare the situations. Like if you look at Jesse, she says the co-parenting is going amazing. I know they've had their issues, but he's a great dad. He's somebody that you can trust. Brittany currently cannot trust Jax with Cruz. Like he is a danger to their family. He's a danger to society. He had to go in rehab for anger issues. Yes, Jesse is a narcissist and has a lot of issues himself, but I think that the levels like are a little bit different. So I don't know, but that doesn't mean that Michelle should not get support from the group.
Well, and I'll also say that because Michelle moved on quickly with Aaron, I think that probably sent the signal to people that she's okay.
That's
That
true.
she has a new guy, she's living with him, like she's got support there, whereas Brittany doesn't. So I think that probably makes a little bit of a difference as well. But you're right. When you layer on the mom part of it all, like I do think that they should probably be, you know, taking her feelings into consideration a little more.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Can we talk about the Danny, Janet, Kristen conversation? Because whew, I justice for Danny.
I
I
mean, so this was a Kristen Janet conversation, and then Danny decides to insert himself, and I just wanted to be like, Danny, abort, abort. I know you're pissed, but just don't. Like, don't put yourself in harm's way.
That's what you got to do on these shows. You got to insert yourself where you don't belong in some conversations. Yes, did they cut to him like having three different drinks throughout the night? Yes.
Oh, wait, yes. Can we talk for a second about like him? Listen, that could have been an editor's like sly move, but it looked pretty clear that he was kind of like looking around and then like waited and then drank it and then made sure to tell Nia, I didn't finish it, but I wanted to tell you.
Oh yeah, the editing was definitely there, but he definitely was about to take a shot and then they cut to Nia and she looked over and he like put it down and then but then they're like it's like a time lapse of like drink counter basically for Danny. Are they counting anybody else's drinks? Like come on, you're at a bar for a party. Of course you're going to be drinking. I am going to defend Danny till the death, but I think that he wasn't in the wrong to like come after Janet in that moment.
No,
Am
I
I
don't think
wrong?
he was in the, no, I don't think he was in the wrong either because he's basically saying, look, Janet, you talk shit about every single person, yet when someone says something about you, it is, dark side Danny and Danny Darko and like all this shit and like attacking our marriage, saying I'm an alcoholic. So, no, he's not wrong. I just didn't want him to have to experience that. And so that's why I was like, Danny, no.
Well, I think everybody else felt like you did because like Nia was like, I'm out of here. And
Yeah.
then she had to come back and be like, Danny, we're out of here. Like she wanted to remove herself from the situation, which I get it. It's probably the smart move before it blows up into something. But like I just feel like number one, I feel like Kristen was a little soft on Janet in this moment. Danny was the one bringing it for Janet, and they decided to remove him. Like, when is Janet going to get the takedown that she needs? Like, I just felt like Danny was going to give her what she deserved, and nobody let him do that. So, all I got to say is justice for Danny.
I think Kristen's a smart player and she knows what to strike when the time is right. I think she is waiting for her moment. And I think that she is probably the only person who can give us the Janet takedown that we are all waiting for. And I think it's still coming.
I hope so. And I hope we get it before that yacht scene that we saw in the trailer because I'm going to need it sooner than that. But gosh, we have next week, Jax is getting out of rehab. Jesse's going to be picking him up. I'm scared. I'm scared for what's to come. And I've been doing fine with the like 30-second clips of Jax Taylor on our screen. He's going to be back into the full force next week. And I don't know. Do we really need to see that?
No, absolutely not. And Jesse is like talking about how he feels torn because he wants to support Britt, but he also wants to support Jax. And, this probably isn't good for Jax's mental health to have his own brand be rebranded as Britt's. And like, lo and behold, I'm actually mad at the editors for this because they dug up like the 3 clips in existence of Jax being a supportive, like kind husband to Brittany. Those are probably the only 3 times he has ever been a supportive partner for her. And they strung them together to make it seem like he's so thoughtful. But we all know the reality.
Yeah, like he let her have so much say in this
Right.
bar. Like, yeah, right. We know how that doesn't make up for anything else that he's done. So nice
No.
try. Nice try.
Nope. Anyway, all right. So we are well into this season. I'm obviously heated. I know Kim's heated. I can't wait to see what happens next because these people are just wild. But we will be back next week to recap another episode of The Valley. Let us know what you guys think. Make sure you follow at Bravo Breaking News on Instagram. Give me a follow at Lisa Not Rinna. You guys, it's sad, and I need to get to 1,000 before BravoCon because I don't know if I can show my face otherwise.
Well, yeah. And on that note, we did get BravoCon tickets. So if you guys got tickets, we will be there. Let's meet up. Let us know in the comments if you're going. And of course, drop all your opinions on this episode in the comments as well. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.